Hi, I'm Chaney, and I'm going to be walking you through how to do the Houston Henley placket today. We're going to be using the kids version of the Houston Henley because it's on a little bit smaller scale. So the men's placket is a little bit bigger, which means our cut lines will be a tad bit different as far as measurement wise. So if you're going to do that, I will try to remember to tell you what those measurements will be. So what you need to have, we're going to pan down and we're going to show you what that is. What you should have cut out is your front piece, which is this. You should have your back piece cut out. You should also have your front inner facing, which will go on the back of your front piece. You should have your top pocket. There should be 2 fabric pieces and 2 inner facing. You should have your bottom placket, which should be one fabric piece and 1 inner facing piece. There should be a neckband, just one. And then I also have some other things that I'll be using. I use Stitch Witchery, which is a fusible web. I am going to pick this one up. So if you can see, it's kind of like it is webbing. Oh, well, it looks like webbing, and it picks everything up. It's a glue that gets ironed on and it holds things together, which will make this placket a lot easier. So if you can find it, this one is a Stitch Witchery. Wonder Under makes it some. I think there are other brands. Here in the States, that's what I can find, so that's what I use. I'm also going to use clips. I think they can be found as magic clips, but I don't know what brand I have. On occasion I use pins. I try not to because I'm really bad about making myself bleed with them, so I try my hardest not to use them. However, today I'm going to because it helps keep them in place, keeps the placket in place as I use it, or as we sew. I will also be using my hemming ruler, and I'll be using my handy dandy iron, because irons are super helpful. We're going to press a lot. I can't express how much you need to press. And my handy dandy tailor's chalk. And we're going to start with the interfacing. And with our prep steps here. I don't need this quite yet. Hold this. So I ironed down the middle to start with, just so that when I turn this over to put my front inner facing in the back, I folded my front inner facing piece in half and I just kind of finger pressed this so that when I opened it up there would be a line, and I ironed my front shirt piece so that when I fold it over, because we're going to iron our front inner facing piece onto, there go my pieces, the back. And you can still see that I have my line here. So I'm going to just line it up to the top of my shirt neckline so that it goes right in the middle. And I'm going to line it up all the way down, just like that. I'm going to make sure my iron is on. So I'm going to leave that lined up. I'm going to lay out, actually I'm not going to lay that out because I don't on there, just in case there happens to be some pieces of the interfacing that don't quite match up. I don't want glue on my fabric. You're just going to line up your interfacing on top of your fabric. Once you have that done, you make sure you're going to apply it according to your interfacing instructions. Mine says to use some steam. So I'm just going to press these so that they are pressed together. Just move that. It's just my luck. I will put a crease in that. And you really want to make sure you're applying this to the wrong side of your fabric. I'm going to say it again. Put your front interfacing on the wrong side of your shirt front. That way you will have no chances of putting it on the right side, and you won't have any chances of seeing it when your placket is done. And the off chance that your seam allowances aren't correct. So I'm going to fold this back up really quick while it's still a little warm, and I'm going to finger press this so I can see where the middle is. Alright, so you can still see that. I have my placket pieces here. I don't need my neckband quite yet. I'm going to move that to the side. And we still have our happy little seam. So now we're going to transfer our pattern markings. I made a handy dandy little pattern marking transfer thingy. And it's not exact, as you can see. It's not perfectly straight along the bottom, and that's okay because I don't need it to be perfectly straight along the bottom. I just need to know where my cut line is going to be, so I'm actually going to fold it right along that cut line. And I need to know where my placket stitch lines are. So I'm going to line it up along my finger pressed line. And or my center cut line, I'm going to draw on with my tailor's chalk my cut line, which is not, I'm actually not going to cut all the way across there, but I'm going to draw that line anyway. And then I'm going to draw on my, I can never figure out which way it gets, chalk my placket stitch lines on here. And we have those, and I'm going to do it the other way. Sometimes I can get this to do it nice and easy, other times I can't. Okay, so there we go. As you can see, that was nice and easy. You don't have to do it that way. You do it whatever way makes it easier for you. However, I find it easier to do it that way. So I did that, so I'm going to move this to the side. I don't need that anymore. And I am going to now cut my cut line. So I'm going to cut all the way down the center cut line with my scissors. Be careful not to go past that. Then I'm going to take my hemming ruler. Now for the men's Henley, you are going to cut 7/8 of an inch here. For kids, I am not going to cut all the way. The reason you're going to do not cut all the way is if you do, you're going to have a small little hole here, and you're going to have to try to fix that. You're going to cut a 5/8 of an inch line here, so I'm going to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So from that line, measure twice, cut once. I'm going to draw a line right there. And I'm going to do one on the side as well. So when you get to the part of actually sewing the placket down or sewing the box down, when we get to that step, if it's buckling a little bit, we can snip it open a millimeter or so it's not buckling. However, at this point we're only going to have it 5/8 of an inch open, which isn't quite as wide as your placket, or quite as wide as the placket stitch line, and that's okay. It's better to not have it open quite as wide than to have it too far open at this point. 2, 3, 4, 5, and double check. 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright, so remember, the men's pocket is going to be open 7/8 of an inch, and the children's right now is going to be open 5/8 of an inch. So that side's up open, and the pocket stitch line is right here. So I'm I'm come this way because I'm right-handed. Turn just a little bit. I'm going to cut that open. Perfect. So as you can see, we can see my interfacing on the back side here now. All right. So now we're going to do step 1, which is the shoulder seams. So now, not only should you watch this video, plug for the video, obviously you're watching it, so you should also read through the instructions a couple times to make sure you really understand this placket part. So it's very important to pay attention to the seam allowances, or your pocket isn't going to turn out. I am going to trim off any extra interfacing I have here so that I can make sure my seam allowances are correct. So that I can see all of my actual fabric here. My first step is to take my top 2 pocket pieces. I'm going to put them right side together. And I'm going to clip them. And make sure they're right side together and aligned correctly. Clip them all the way down the long edge, one of the long edges. And I'm going to stitch along here with 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. And I'm going to not use a serger. I'm going to stitch it with a sewing machine so that you can see the seam allowance. Alright. Step 2.3 is to, I gotta trim that, that's gonna bother me. Iron, or press, I'm sorry. Press the seam open. I kind of finger pressed it just a little bit. I'm going to press it open, a little bit of steam, and turn over and make sure I got it. The seam looks good. Then I'm going to do a memory hem, a 3/8 of an inch memory hem. So you're just going to make sure you know where your 3/8 of an inch is here. And do it, and my mat is still a little warm. So I can kind of finger press it there and then come back here in just a second. I'm actually going to clip it just to be sure. 2, 3. And do that. And that side is done. So come back and do the other. Okay. My top pocket is now stitched together in the middle with a 3/8 inch seam allowance, and I have a memory hem done, pressed on each side. So this is what it should look like. I'm going to set that aside. And I am going to do the same except to the bottom pocket, except we won't be stitching it in the middle because it's one piece. So I'm just going to do a memory hem on the bottom, which is 3/8 inch. So now, both of my plackets are done, but I am going to do one more thing. Actually, my top placket isn't done yet. So I'm going to look at it, because I am going to fold over my bottom a 1/2 inch here. You don't have to do this part, but I'm going to. You can do it later on. So you can wait and do it in step 2.20. However, I have found it easier to do it here with the stitch witchery tape. So first I am going to use my tape. I actually have to cut it just a little bit because it is too wide for my hems. And then my hems, I mean. So I'm just going to put it in my hem. I'm going to make sure, I don't know that you can see this once it's on here. You see it on there? Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm going to make sure you can't see it once my hem is folded over. Cannot. I'm going to measure, okay, just a tad shorter. Some would call this cheating. I call it being smart. If it makes my sewing easier, and if it helps it be more precise, I don't have any issues with it. I want my clothes that I make to look professional and the nicest that they can. And so I am all about this. So I'm going to press this so it stays closed. I'm going to do one side at a time. I believe this requires, see, and it stays nice. Neat. I'm going to do the middle too, just to give me an advantage when it comes to doing the buttonholes. Okay, so now that I have that one done, I'm now going to, I want this side of my pocket to be up because I want the foxes to be pointing up. So I'm going to measure up. I know my pocket has to come up a ½ inch. So I'm going to clip it at the very bottom. Actually, I can't because it's going to come undone. I'm going to do the same here. I'm going to do a memory hem really quick, and then I'm going to put my, make sure it's even, and then I'm going to put my stitch switchery in here. Or my fusible bond web, fusible web, I don't know what it's called. Alright, just going to trim it. So it's ready to go. It's ready. I'm just going to stick this in here. Way to go. And oops, wasn't quite there. There we go. Wasn't quite even on the bottom. Okay, so that one is now pressed and ready to go. I'm going to set that right here, and I'm going to do the same here. And that is done too. So now we have pretty plackets. Okay, now if you are making the shirt for a man, typically the top placket goes on the left. If you're making it for a woman or a girl, typically the top placket goes on the right. It's up to you on which way you want to do it. Technically this shirt is for my daughter. However, I am going to put the top placket on the left because that is how the instructions are written, and I am doing this tutorial for you. So that's how I'm going to do this. So my top pocket is open, although I am going to press this really quick so that it folds better in half. And when I need it to fold, and then I line it up where it needs to go. And we're actually going to edit that out. Right, so I'm going to open up my top pocket, like so, and I am going to align the edge of the memory hem, which is this edge, to the pattern marking. So it's going to look something like so. You can barely see my pattern marking here. or my cut line. And I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. Sorry, I can speak honest. Right down like that. I'm going to use a pen this time. And I'm going to pin it just like so. And so what it should look like from the back side is the edge of the cut line should come approximately halfway across the top of your packet. Oh goodness, your placket, if you can see that. What I'm going to do right now is to baste it just from the center of your placket. Actually, I'm going to go just a little bit further so it doesn't come undone, and go all the way across here so that my placket stays in place. Okay, my top placket is basted in place, so now I'm going to take my bottom placket and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to take the edge of my memory hem. So my memory hem is in here. I'm going to take the edge, well, actually this edge, and I'm going to line it up right along here on my pattern markings, and I am going to pin that in place. Like so, and you can see that goes about halfway across. Now, if I had a fold line on here, you can see where that fold line would be then. It's about halfway across again, and I'm going to baste that as well. Now, I'm going to work with my handy dandy little neckband. I'm actually going to move my shirt. I'm going to fold it in half. And I'm going to out, and I'm going to carefully iron it. Press it. Oh, I don't know what I mean, honestly. Alright, and then I'm going to find the quarter points of this. I find the back first. I'm going to mark it with the pen. Take a couple of these off to make it a little easier. I'm going to fold it in half again. I'm going to find the top quarter point. And unfold that one. Actually cut just a little bit of it. And make sure we still have that quartered. The neckband is now quartered, neckband, and I need to do the same to my neckline. Find the back. open one of these and match the other up. And match it up to the back. Maybe. And find as you can see, my shoulder point is not the quarter here. It's right there. I'll quarter that. Mark that quarter. And do it same on the other side. Make sure my front is marked together. Match it to my back. Make sure it is flat. And mark that quarter as well. Alrighty. All my quarters are matched here. How this works, this is step 2.9. You are going to overlap your neckband about an inch. So that is an inch mark, so approximately there. So where you're going to match the point of your neckband into your neckband. Or into the pocket, I'm sorry. I'm going to pin that so I know where it goes. Then I'm going to match up my quarter points to the quarter point of my neckline. I'm just going to match it like this. I'm going to take out a pin. I'm going to re-pin that and match the back of my neckline, the back of my neckband. Take the pin out, re-pin. Again on the side here, the other side. I'm going to repeat the same, about an inch in. Right, like that. Now, step 2.10 is you're going to take the other side of your placket, and you are going to fold it on top of the placket. Now you want to make sure you are lining up the bottom part of your placket to the top part of your placket. And you want to make sure that you are getting the point of your neckband up. Kind of almost to the point where it's out of your placket, so that when you go to stitch your placket, it will be caught in your seam allowance. Like so. And I'm actually going to pin that. Use a pin to catch it up here. To pin it so that it comes up. I'm going to do the same on the other side, and then I'm going to, rather than stitch all the way around, I am going to baste this part of the placket in, of the neckline, and make sure I have it before I stitch the whole neckline in or before I serge it. So I'm going to do that now and do both sides of the neckband to make sure I have it before I do the whole neckband. Okay, so then we come back, and you want to see, I'm going to turn it and see just enough to make sure you caught the entire point of the neckband just like that. And you just check both sides to make sure you got both. And then you can go back and you can stitch all the way around the neckband, or you can serge. And I'm actually going to serge it. So I am going to go do that. Alright, I am going to turn it right side out. Ooh. So it gets away from me. I'm going to poke my corners out. If you have done it with a sewing machine, you want to clip your corners before you turn it. Okay. Alright, so in step 2.14 it says to align the underside of the bottom pocket's folded edge. So you're going to align this edge with your horizontal cut line. I have already aligned part of this with the Placket stitch line, and I used my fusible web to iron down this so that I could just show you how to align this. So I have more fusible web in here, so I'm just going to press this down, and I'm going to take my iron and I'm going to press the rest of it down here. So I have that in place. And then I'm going to repeat the steps with my top pocket. Alright, so both of my pockets are aligned to where they need to be. And I am going to overlap my top pocket over my bottom pocket. And I don't have any buckling, so we are looking good here. Because I have used my stitch witchery or my fusible webbing, I don't need to pin here. But I do need to top stitch my top pocket from here, right above my cut line, all the way, well actually I'm going to start here. I'm going to start at the top and then I'm going to go all the way down here to right above my my horizontal cut line. So I'm going to go do that. Alright, now I'm going to move my bottom pocket to below or to under the top or the front of the shirt. And I am going to top stitch from the top down to the cut line. And now that I have done that, what I'm going to do, you're going to place your bottom pocket where you want it, and then you're going to put a piece of stitch witchery on it, or the bottom pocket I should say. There we go, oh it fell. So you're going to place a piece of stitch witchery on it, the bottom pocket, and you're going to place the shirt, and the shirt where you want it. Make sure everything is laying where it needs to. Open the pocket, top pocket, and you're going to just press it. So it stays where you want it to while it's being ironed, sewn. There we go. Okay. So step 2.20 is to fold up your ½ inch of the bottom of the pocket. If you've already done it with your earlier in step 2.3, I believe, then you're good to go. If not, you need to do that now. And you're going to fold up the bottom edge 1/2 inch, and you're going to press it, and then you're going to pin it, and then you're going to line up. You're going to line up your plackets, how they need to sit, how you want them to sit, with the top over the bottom, like so. I'm going to add a pin just to be safe. Alright, so I like to mark my rectangle before I go to sew it. I did a 3/4 inch by 1 1/4 inch rectangle for the kids, and for the men's it will be 1 1/2 or 1 inch by 1 1/2 inch rectangle. I also drew the cross or the X in there for you, so that when I go to sew it, I'll have that in there. So I'm going to go sew that. Alright, so now that I have my rectangle stitched, I'm going to stitch my buttonholes in. So I'm going to go do that. I hope you enjoyed watching this tutorial and video, and that it was helpful with the Houston Henley placket, and I look forward to seeing all of your Houston Henleys in the future.